Dr. Detroit to my right, Mike Whitty. Mike is a U of M grad and just a pioneer in the cannabis movement. He was from the time of the first anti-Vietnam War at U of M, teaching at U of M. He was a U of M grad until the snowy hash bash of last year. He's a university professor at University of San Francisco. He's taught at Amsterdam, and we're lucky enough to have him here tonight to give us a talk on basically he's working right now on his emotional and psychological healing, and he's counting on cannabis to help, and he's going to discuss that tonight with us.
I want to give thanks to Home of Medicine, to Mark and his team here. This is truly higher ground, and it is the gold standard of what is now called provisioning centers. And we're hopeful in the next few weeks and months that we'll have good news. Things will turn out okay as far as the legislature is concerned. Let's give thanks to the plant. I'll make my whole talk a prayer and a meditation on marijuana. I'd like you to come along on the journey with me. I hope it helps you see some of your own sorrows and suffering in a softer light, because I want you to give thanks for the plant relieving our suffering. I think cannabis does ease our pain and sorrows, both physically, but less fully appreciated emotionally, and ultimately spiritually, in whatever way you hold that term. I think all of this is interconnected, rather subtly, all the time. Things happen. Sometimes healings pass through us, and we hardly notice it until we look back and appreciate it. So we want to give thanks, of course, for the medical benefit, which I believe we all grasp rather fully. But do we see the compassion side of using the cannabis? How does it help us and help us with others? Give us a little better mental health, I hope. De-stressing us for sure, helping us relax, getting calmer and clearer, maybe using our intuition more fully, and connecting with self and what I call our inner guide. That reassuring aspect that we only can fully connect with when we slow down and we become a little bit quiet. We don't have a culture that allows for much of that, and most of you are leaders, so you're busier than most, more engaged than most, and we have to watch out that we don't miss some of the sweeter things in life, our own self-healing on the journey with the sacred herb. We have a life journey and a great legacy to contribute to healing society with a safer medicine than most anything we've come up with. Imagine if the Ohio State-Michigan game dispensed medicine and not alcohol. How could that change how we celebrate and how we play and how we interact as a culture? If we could substitute the medicine for what alcohol has been used for so commonly, a painkiller, relaxing, feeling better, having a good time, conviviality, comradeship. That's been the role of alcohol, so commonly accepted in our culture with a lot of downside risk. I wonder if we might, in our lifetime, be able to do more than we think we can, more than simply legalize, more than simply recognize medical benefit, more than simply use it in psychotherapy, as folks in MAPS use MDMA in psychotherapy. I can see great use of hashish as a softer doorway to opening the heart than even the psychedelics. So there's many extra paths to follow here on this topic, but I want to just give thanks for our use of it as home psychotherapy, you might say self-therapy, for our emotional healing, to solve our problems and make better decisions and maybe get some more insights, and ultimately what the business people call emotional intelligence. And possibly spiritual intelligence if you're on a path of meditation or yoga or some type of contemplative reflection, even if it's just walking in a park or canoeing or hiking or riding a bike, if you're in some area where you get away and a little peace of mind, it can be nature, it can be the beauty of outdoors, fall colors, you're in the zone there when I talk about maybe our special divine qualities, some of our kinder and best sides as against our more selfish and insecure behaviors that kind of are reflexive and are not really thoughtful and not our best moments. So I'm talking about a bunch of things here, but I'd like to give you a phrase that I think people can hold on to. Letting cannabis help us cultivate an attitude of gratitude. If we got up every day with a thankful approach to our day, and we had thankfulness as our mantra, we would be more effective in our day, and we would feel less stressed. We would feel more appreciative. We would feel that, wow, look at this beautiful room. Look at the art. Look at our afternoon moment together. That's sacred. That's special. It's very honorable. It's a sublime moment for all of us. For us to count our blessings and see the silver lining in our lives, what I call the holy smoke, helps us, really helps us increase our creativity and our kindness and our acceptance of ourselves, most importantly, and then others. It gives us that extra energy to keep pushing when it's a long haul. And when appropriate, the courage to speak the truth, as many of you have done in Lansing last week and will continue to do this week on Tuesday. And maybe sometimes, you know, the holy smoke could put you in touch with your soul. Whatever that is for you. Higher intelligence, spirituality, it all goes well with cannabis if it's approached as a sacred herb. If it is, and you make time for it maybe once a week for 20 minutes, you utilize it for something that's associated with the great bookstore next door, Crazy Wisdom Bookstore. Please stop in if you've not done so ever, and if you have in the recent past, on your way out, just walk into the store and walk to the back of the store slowly and walk back up to the front. If you're really strong, climb the stairs and check out the second floor. They have a cafe there. That is Ann Arbor's greatest treasure. I say that here at the Home of Medicine. Maybe the Home of Medicine is Ann Arbor's second greatest treasure. But the Crazy Wisdom Bookstore is my first stop and my last stop in these pilgrimages to Ann Arbor. It is very special. It has an energy level and a beauty that can console all of you who are carrying your cross and making the journey of life with some sorrows, with some hurts, with some sadness. And I think that's part of being a human being, to have those situations, whether it's personal relationships or business and political combat. It's hard to be kind and forgiving in a competitive world where we don't have a high premium on cooperativeness. So I offer you the antidote. If you're not a member of Home of Medicine, I recommend that as well. But if you're pleased with this room and you're pleased with the beauty of the room, that's what I'm talking about in terms of calming yourself and taking care of your emotional needs. So does the Crazy Wisdom Bookstore. Then you'll be in a position to become the prophet you were born to be. I think you were born to be cannabis prophets. I mean, you were. Just your life karma brings this forward as your destiny. This is what you're supposed to contribute to humanity's evolution. And you're building your life legacy, and I hope this little afternoon together strengthens you, makes you feel better about what you're doing, and maybe becoming better at it. So I'd like you to Give thanks for the medicine, the relaxation it provides, the play it encourages and stimulates. It keeps me dancing, and I'm a better dancer as a result. A much better dancer, I think.
I'm partly too.
And I'm lame. I've got a bad foot. But when I take the sacred herb, I think I'm having a better time on the dance floor. So there is a place for play, especially for people who are called adults. I don't know what point in time in life you're obliged to consider yourself an adult. But then you stop dancing. Then you have a couple kids, and you hardly ever go out. And there's a lot of things, and you stay watching the game. And the Lions are ahead, thank God. Praise God.
No, they lost.
I hope to live to see the day the Lions win the Super Bowl. That's one of my goals. I live so long.
They lost.
Another few months.
You can live to 150, Mike.
So, and I'm talking about heartfulness in a way, being more attuned to where you are and aware of the moment. It's called mindfulness. When we're there and relaxed, we can handle almost anything. Very tough situations. We can make better decisions. When we're stretched out, guilty about the past, or angry about the past, or we're awfulizing the future, we're losing the moment, we're losing our breath, and we're not able to execute. That's the old be here now, Ramdas, the mindfulness. Very helpful, but we have a hard time being present because there's so many distractions in this culture we've built up. And a sure way for self-understanding and self-acceptance is to see the results of your mindfulness, see the results of your awareness. And in that process, you might begin to cultivate your virtues and eradicate some of the negative qualities that come along with life. I sometimes simplify it to say, let's try to reduce our blameology, less self-blame. We won't be blaming the Republicans or the Democrats or the TV set. Let's work on giving ourselves a break, less blameology, and less victimology, less poor me. Now, those two hold us down and reduce our presentation and reduce our effectiveness. So I see acceptance as a key word here, as an antidote to our overreaction to small slights and our fears. We overreact to that. We overreact to our irritation or anger. We overreact to constant worry. We become so jumpy and jittery that we're not calm. And if we could just trust life and trust ourselves to life, we'd be in tremendous shape. We'd be very brave. Life is a great adventure. We must be brave. And I think the plant helps us to increase our psychological health and insight and our spiritual self-healing. And if you want to make an intention today in listening to these thoughts, try to think of the plant as more than simply feeling better for taking medicine, but letting it become your guide, trusting it. Touches parts of you which are very good, very holy, and very helpful. And it doesn't require you to be religious. It doesn't require you to believe in an afterlife or God. We're talking about essentially what psychologists are calling positive psychology or emotional intelligence. Good life skills, good people skills, good for relationship, love life, and public life, and business, and political action. Good people skills. Charismatic aspects of ourselves are available to us in greater plenitude if we are open-hearted. So I'm just hoping that we would recognize that cannabis can help us have less fear of being alive, less worry, less anxiety. If you try to make this thought your intention, when you use the medicine, it can soften worry, which is usually unnecessary and accomplishes little. You can catch yourself and reset your thinking to thanksgiving and the attitude of gratitude. So we take away only 2 thoughts here. Thankfulness. Every one of us can be thankful for our afternoon. Every one of us can be thankful for our precious human life. All of us understand that word thankfulness. And so appreciation and thankfulness are enhanced by the cannabis. Maybe cannabis enhances our kindness. It'd be nice to return to some table manners and eye contact and a smile and a hello. It's some very basic office politics. We all can tone that up a notch. And then, would you like to consider a daily thanksgiving, a moment of meditation? When issues come up, take a break, sit in silence, follow your breathing, just for a few minutes. Then take 2 hits of medicine. Medicine in moderation. Wouldn't that be something? Medicine in moderation just opens up the rich you inside. And it places you in friendly contact with the outer world. It brings you inner peace and it will lead to outer peace. You can become a peacemaker. You're gaining the inner peace and allowance for contributing to outer peace and being a peacemaker. So if you'd like, just take a moment of reflection here. See if you can find a personal issue. If you want to close your eyes, if that's helpful to you, feel free. But for a moment of reflection using sacred herb, could the plant talk to you? Do you appreciate having that contact? I'm sure you do. Could you select an issue or a problem that concerns you, your health, your wealth, your relationships, your sexuality, your life legacy? Could you get to higher ground in meditation with marijuana? One hit, breathing in, Om. Wow, that might make for a Crazy Wisdom bookstore to have a talk someday on this very subject. You'd be restructuring your use of cannabis where less is more. And you know your limits. You respect the medicine, respect yourself. You can be brave, not foolish. Slow down a little bit, listen to the plant, listen to yourself, your inner guide, and start with what for you is a small amount on a weekly basis, a session of 30 minutes, find the right dosage. Different strains will have different effects on different people. I think you folks know about the strains better than I do. You can start with sativa to heighten alertness. Here we want to really reach higher ground. We're not using it for pain management or as a sedative. We're using it for its capacity to heal the mind and to heal emotions. Science of psychoneuroimmunology says, from our psyche come our feelings, from our thoughts come our feelings, and from our feeling state touches our chemistry and comes the physiological expression of disease, the migraine headache, this ailment and that ailment. So I'm asking you to use it more creatively than most of us generally use the plant. For pain relief, yes. For play, yes. For drawing and art and creativity, yes. But sometimes not for that critical part of life, which is our feeling state, our emotional state. So the sitting for 30 minutes can help you center yourself with an intention selected prior to this little meditation. You wouldn't have to use too much of the medicine. Open to your feelings, to your thoughts. Just allow the passes in front of you like a newsreel. What are those messages? Sometimes profound, not always. A technique that might require extensive experimentation for some and not work, or become a surprising extra life tool and practice that would aid you on all other fronts. Worth considering if you don't do some version of what I'm proposing here. And less of it might be better to begin than more, because you want to minimizing effect of any of the sabotaging aspects of cannabis. And I am faced with that challenge on a weekly basis. To stay more inspired by the sacred herb, not yet needing to be put under because of my physical pain. My emotional pain I carry with me with enough strength not to require heavy sedation. So I hope that most of you are in reasonably good health and are able to manage this path of moderation. By the way, it would save you a lot of pot, and your stash would go a lot farther. Maybe that's the takeaway from today's talk. You know, I just realized my stash will last an additional month with Dr. Whitty's prescriptions, right? So you could use the one hitter for this approach to things. Right? And comedy is good too. I'm not trying to be too light about this, but there's some room for us to recognize the possibilities are much richer than our movement has been able to unwrap. It to take us a long time to explore all these paths. Let me just say this: cannabis is your key to the doorway to higher consciousness. Your own birthright of wisdom, good judgment. It does give you a healthier and happy life where you can help others more. It helps heal pain and disease, but it softens mental stress and psychological pain, the deep soul pains and life problems, dilemmas. It helps us discover who we are and what we might become. We're less fearful and more courageous and kind. And treating it as a sacred herb might make magic, and we might become more compassionate caregivers. To have compassion for our suffering and all suffering. That's a big thing. That's Buddhism at its heart. Passion for our own suffering, for our own sorrows, for our own sadness. Maybe contribute to a global mind shift in medicine, healing, and human freedom. Become part of the evolution of human consciousness, at the door of rethinking and re-experiencing the possible human, and a potential healing of body, mind, and spirit. People and planet, a movement offering healing, including starting with healing ourselves and then contributing to healing the planet. Medical benefits, yes, but psychological benefits, such as feeling more, sensing more, feeling better, and think better. More than stress reduction, it's a good guide, an inner guide. In the right set and setting, we have insight. Often we notice more and receive important information, answers, and reassurance. All of this in a form of comradeship, and brotherhood, and sisterhood that connects us across our differences. Race, sex, age, income, politics, and personality. And personality, as we know doing the political work, is perhaps half the hurdles we have to hop are just the chemistry of the people we're working with that pushes our buttons. We've got to find a way to just understand that people are either broadcasting love, as we are together now, or they're crying for help. So when you see someone coming on attack, you see somebody chasing you with a meat cleaver, they're troubled, they're hurting, and it's a primitive and unskillful cry for help. So if we could just soften a little bit around the issues of human personality and human chemistry that are tough on us, that disturb us and make us irritated and angry, and we want to counter-punch. We can soften up a little bit on that. Believe me, it'll take a lot of stress out of our lives, and we can practice the gesture of martial art, Aikido, where the attacker comes, you do the blend and let the attack pass through. But it helps if you have a little of the sacred herb in your system at the time. Because we are a peaceful people. We aren't the alcohol drinkers. They'll jump them right away when they attack. For us, our tendency is to be a little more peaceful, a little bit calmer and more low-key. That'll save you a lot of fights at home. That'll save you a lot of fights in the street. And we need as much unity as we possibly can, and we need to honor all the diverse politics and personalities that are in this movement, where we have the entire population represented inside our cannabis movement, of all type of backgrounds and all type of personalities. The hardest part is not the Republicans and the Democrats. We've largely learned how to unite with both. What a nice, healthy journey for people of both parties to cross that dividing line. We crossed the race line, and we have women and men and people of all income levels, people of all backgrounds. I think the hardest part for us fellow humans is the diverse personalities and chemistries that we have to encounter in the human spectrum. That's a big piece of work. That's life's work there too. So we've got to learn to get along. The whole world needs this so much. Some of us have experienced this at campfires or rainbow gatherings, of drumming and dancing, and the joy and abandon that cannabis can bring. We need to keep the dance and play as we get older. Let's greet each other with love this afternoon. You are among friends here, and the plant and the planet are our friends. Let's make all our smoke holy. On that happy note, I'm so thankful for being with you, and God bless you. Open the floor.